Warm welcome to the Taste of Twilight. And thank you very much, Jasmine, for this beautiful introduction. The whole production is to depict a very personal but surreal experience of Twilight. Twilight, an absolutely blood-shedding phase of the day, personally for me, quite equal to what Ingmar Bergman depicts in his remarkable film, The Hour of Wolf. It's still now, an absolutely helpless and jeopardizing moments when I personally went through so many strange experiences, and I tried to write and express those unexplainable emotions. I ended up fumbling with meaningless sounds without being able to write a single word. And it still happens the same. I can see a flow of blood streaming through my entity, through the core of my existence. But why? On a melancholic twilight in my childhood, while I used to fly kite in a green field by the bank of the river Shurma, one day I discovered the sun was going and gone. The dusk and darkness engulfed myself and the universe so immediately. I shouted and cried with fear, but nobody came to assure me, "Do not fear, boy, the sun will rise again." Perhaps because I was all by myself, like the boy Abraham of Bible. I bowed my head to the sun when I first saw it and thought this might be the manifestation of God who protects me and others, gives shadow and shelter on the emptiness above head. But with the ruthless experience of sunset and darkness, I was terrified, and I thought this must have been the end of everything, and nobody remained in this endless universe to look after me. And so I started growing up in a godless world. The fear in Twilight is also because I read in most of the theological, mythical, and ancient text that the final dissolution of the universe will happen in between twilight and dark. So twilight always comes to me with some unexplainable fears and surreal, strange experiences. When I come in the vicinity of twilight, my eyes have an abnormal vision of memory from my childhood. All the shepherds are going home through a rural dusty paths with cattle, and red dust under the red blood sky is floating all around, and as if the whole village and village after village are immersed in cries and strange whispers. I feel I'm saved for a day when we spend each twilight. So twilight comes with an absolute loneliness, and I gradually discovered old friends I'm spiritually connected to, Ingmar Bergman for an example. They equally felt helpless in these very moments of transition. Bergman Through the Glass Darkly and many frames and many film digests, or even one of the iconic Welsh poet, Dylan Thomas, who wrote, "And every evening at sundown, I ask a blessing on the town, for whether we last the night or no, I'm sure is always touch and go." Even when I seek remedy from the composition of Johann Sebastian Bach, I invariably see that flow of blood through the rays of the weeping sun in every twilight. Ustad Bore Ghulam Ali Khan, the Bach of Indian classical music, very remarkably said, while singing Rag Marwa, a phenomenal twilight raga on the bank of the river Sea, Arab Sea, while the sun was setting in the horizon, he stopped all of a sudden and said to his friend, "See, our twilight ragas are so philosophically connected with the relevant emotions. While we sing Rag Marwa, we search for the note Sa. In every musical phrase we finish, knowing Sa is the home note for Rag Marwa and all of the twilight ragas, as if we search for home when twilight falls on the earth. When we cry in endless jeopardy because we realize by then that there is no ultimate home. All we see are actually the illusion of home. In perhaps one of those strange twilight, a great Russian landscape painter was invaded by ruthless loneliness. Therefore, we won't find any single living being in any of his painting, Isaac Leviton. Only apart from the last one, just before he died, where he painted a horse in an abandoned, cold, frozen landscape. Perhaps in blood-shedding twilight, a lonely horse, shivering with cold. This wasn't simply a horse, I think. It was Isaac Leviton himself. It's me. And this is the horse I see the reflection of myself through. And I'm sure Bach, Tagore, Wordsworth, A. Houseman, Silvia, Jivanananda, whose verses will be read and recited, everyone was that horse too. In one blink of your eyes, please try to look at the visual interpretation by Srimati Ragasudha Pinjamuri. But at the other blink, please do not forget to look at the painting, mostly by Isaac Leviton, on the screen. And few others like Wendy Pewart, Thomas Moran, Michel Mastrangelo, Ken Figuiski. Please have a look at the deer at the sunset by Ken Figuiski. In one point it will appear here. And see if you can see yourself with all of our vulnerabilities, helplessness in that deer too.